Hello, YouTube. I am Prepper Princess, the author of Living on Almost Nothing. If you are interested in purchasing my book, I'll leave a link down in the description box below. Also, my YouTube videos are not getting viewed. They're down by like 90%. So I would really appreciate it if you guys would leave a like or a comment or subscribe if you find this information helpful or useful. So today I want to talk about a couple of things. And basically what it is what are we looking at for the presidential elections and how the stock market is going to work. My dog. So what are we looking at in 2024? It's now the end of 2023 as I'm making this. The statistics for 2024 aren't out yet. So we don't even know who is going to be running. But at the poll numbers right now, it looks like it's probably going to be another Trump versus Biden presidential election. So let's first go over historically what the stock market has shown for Trump's presidency as well as Biden's. So again, Biden is only in 3 years. There's no statistics for the fourth year. So I can only take the 3 years and then divide by 3 to get the average over his presidency. So Trump, his average over all 4 years is 16.8%. So that's more than 1.5 times the average stock market return, which is typically 10% per year when adjusted over the last 100 or so years. Biden, for the last 3 years of his presidency, he is at an average stock market return of 3.8. So it's 16.8% Trump, average return Biden, 3.8%. All right, so what does that mean? So first of all, if you look at historical trends, out of the last 28 presidential elections, 24 of those 28 presidential election years, the stock market had a rise. It was not a negative return in any way. What I'm seeing, just based on history, as well as my own personal predictions based on treasury yields and the U.S. Treasury pumping money into the system, inflation, yield bonds, that sort of thing. What I'm seeing, or what the numbers in my head and on a few pieces of paper are seeing, is that the second half of the first half of 2024, there's going to be a slight increase in the stock market. The second half, starting May, June, July, the stock market is more than likely going to rise as much as possible. This could be because, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Maybe I am, but maybe I'm not. I don't know. That can be up to you to decide. But it seems that during an election year, whether it's Democrats or Republicans that are in the presidency, will inflate the stock market to make it look like they have had higher average returns over their presidency as opposed to the person they are running against. Now, when you take these two things, Trump, and this can be done in a debate if Trump wants. But if Trump has an average over 4 years of 16.8% and Biden has an average so far of only 3.8%, how much of a difference in the stock market does Biden need to see in order for his Democratic Party to appear that they have had better results than their competitor, the person that is coming in to debate with them and try and win the election? So if you were to take the average of 16.8% and 3.8%, and he only has 1 year left, it would have to take like a 200% increase in order for it to look even comparable to what Trump accomplished during his presidency. I'm not saying that it's going to go up by like 2 or 300%. I don't think that that's what it's just, I don't think that it's really, I mean, it's possible. Anything is possible. But I don't really think that that's likely. But I do think that they're going to do, like, the last 6 months of 2024 is going to be like a no holds barred. They're going to probably take all of those companies that, okay, here's where the conspiracy theory comes in, is presidential elections. Okay, companies donate to presidential elections in order to get what they want to improve their company. And what is the president offering in return? We don't know, because that's not privied information for us common folk who just live in a regular house and wear plaid all the time. However, let's say that the president gets millions and millions of dollars for his campaign. This would be Biden, because he's our current president, would be getting millions and millions and millions of dollars from these companies in order for him to win the presidential election. And in turn, he has to do something for them. In turn, they have to do something for him. He has to do something for them, something like that. So when it comes to the last 6 months of the last part of the presidential term, maybe he's going to come back to these companies and say, okay, you donated to me during my presidency or during when I was going up for president, and then I did all this stuff for you and you've made billions of dollars over my presidency. Now, since you only gave me millions and I made you billions by doing all of these presidential things, now the time has come to return the favor, because I need the stock market to look better. So I need your executive CEOs to buy the stocks at a higher price and reset, and then make the stock market just boom. That is just my personal opinion. It could be a conspiracy theory. It might not. But I have also spoken with some financial advisors, not just my own, but several different financial advisors. And the consensus pretty much is that the second half of 2024, there's going to be a large increase in the stock market. And when it comes to bonds and treasury yields and inflation and things like that, there's really too much to go over in a single video, and it would probably turn into like a 3-hour presentation of why things are the way that they are. But I don't want to go into the why things are the way that they are. I just want to go into what it is looking like is going to happen. There is also a lot of information out here, like during President Trump, and this is on thebalancemoney.com. It shows that Trump trailed only President Clinton and President Obama when it comes to the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Increased 11.77% during his term, while the S&P increased 13.73%. Trump saw the highest increase on the NASDAQ, however, with an increase of 24.17% during his term. So that one says that it's 24.17% increase, but the average annualized over all 4 years, my calculations came out to 16.8. So I am getting different information, and I've probably gone to 5-6 different sources. So this is just what I'm going off of. You can make your own conclusion with that. And it's just, it's totally crazy. I'm just trying to figure out, the elections, and then what happens after? What happens after? What happens if Biden wins, and what happens if Trump wins? Well, if we go by trends in history, Biden so far has 3.8%, Trump so far has 16.8%, or that 24.7%. And let's just go in the middle between 16.8 and 24.7 and say 20%. So Trump averages 20% over his 4-year term in the stock market. And also in that point in time, inflation was at 2 or 3%. And now that Biden's in office, they say that it's around 6 to 8%, but really we all know it's around 20%. On average. I mean, it's, the way that they calculate these things is just they increasingly calculate them so that it looks like inflation is not a big deal. But I'm sorry, going from $2.68 a gallon in gas to going to almost $7 a gallon in gas here in California, that to me is a big change. That's not 2 or 3% or 6%. But I lost my train of thought. Trump versus Biden. Okay. So if Trump wins, if we look at history, well, first of all, he's going to have kind of a bit of a mess to pick up. But if Trump does win the presidential election, we're looking at the next 4 years of an average increase in the stock market of 20% per overall. So some years it might be 30%, some years it might be 12%. But we're looking at another overall stock market return of 20%. 16 to 24%. So in the middle, 20% over the next 4 years. If Biden wins and he wins the presidential election and becomes our president once again, assuming that he survives the entire presidency because he's just so old, I'm sorry. Actually, Trump is pretty old too, isn't he? Big difference. Anyway, so if Biden wins the election, we're looking at a average of 4% over 4 years. So you're looking at like 1% per year. So, and continued inflation. So if you're getting an average of 3.8%, however, Capital One, just an example, I have Capital One. An example, Capital One has a savings account with 4.3% interest. Yeah, so you earn 4.3% interest. Your money is better off in a savings account with Biden as president as opposed to Trump. So, who do you want to win? Please don't turn this into a don't use derogatory. I know you guys are going to go in there and go all political in the comments, and I'm okay with that. But don't use bad terms like woke, Democrats, right-wingers. Like don't do that. Okay? I'm just be respectful. You know, back in the day, we used to have political disagreements, or we could talk to each other and not have to insult each other and get all emotional about it. It's politics, okay? Nobody gets out of here alive, folks. So, you know, make friends, not foes. But that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing if Trump wins, we're going to do really good in the stock market. If Biden wins, we're going to do really bad in the stock market. And I'm also seeing that in the middle of 2024, the stock market's going to go up in an attempt to make the average return during Biden's Democratic presidency. It's going to go up to make his overall average look better in order to continue to get Democratic votes. All right, folks, do what you can with what you've got. Prepper Princess out. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe. Get him, Noah. Get her, Rocky. Get her. Get him, Noah. Get him. Get her, Rocky.
Just like this, leaving great piles of steaming dung in their wake. But while the middle-class passengers were able to put their feet up and enjoy